Like sometimes I feel sorry for David Cameron and George Bush and people like that because we blame them. We say it's all their fault, and in some ways they're more responsible than others. Let's say, um, but actually we give them that agenda. But every time we go to the checkouts and buy stuff wrapped in plastic that's been flown all over the world, and all the other stuff that goes on and the stuff that we get from some horrid corporations. We're saying to our politicians, we're saying just keep doing what you're doing. Why would they? Why we're demanding economic growth, we're demanding stuff. Why would they do anything other than meet that agenda? And I think that until we really send out a message saying that we don't want this stuff anymore, we're always going to have. We may as well just stop with the lip service because it's getting tiring, to be honest, to keep paying lip service to stuff and then keep going out doing the same old same. I don't come here to give, to kind of have a really down conversation. It will get more fun, I hope, before the end. But I think we need to be really, really serious about making changes to our lives and seeing yourself as the whole. Act in a loving way to the whole. Stop engaging in practices that are unhealthy to the whole because they're unhealthy to you. If you want a world with a bit more love, a bit more care, a bit more respect in it, put in more love, put in more care, put in more respect into the world. Like Buddhists will call it karma, but atheists will call it common sense. It's like you reap what you sow in that respect. Like if you put more love, more care into the world, then you're in a world with more love and care in it. It's pretty simple. It's not a huge kind of esoteric concept. Anyway, so I've rambled on a bit about self, money in the self, but I just think it's a really, really crucial part of the whole thing. I also, and this is kind of contrary to kind of conventional economic thought, but money creates huge amounts of waste again because of this disconnection. I remember when I've been living moneyless. If I passed a bunch of dry wood on in the countryside, I'd pick it up and collect it and bring it back, and I'd use that for burning, for example. If I found a pen on the street or a lighter, I'd pick it up and use it because it would save me spending like 20 minutes on the old bow and drill or something, trying to get a spark going on a wet winter evening. I'd use everything, like in terms of waste food, would engage in growing food, but I'd also use some waste food if it was in the cities and stuff. And because I really understood how precious all this stuff was, and how difficult it was to when you know how difficult it is to make this stuff, which you get a higher appreciation of it if you don't have money. Then you waste far less. The conventional economic theory will say that money kind of caps and regulates how much we consume, but it's a kind of a sleight of hand in some ways. It's kind of deflecting. Like in normal economic theory, it'll say like if you extract oil and you use it to make a rubber, you use it to make a little kind of floating duck in the bathtub or something. That's actually not waste because it's been used efficiently into an iPod or into some kind of gadget. So that's not seen as waste. But actually when I look at that, I just see loads of waste. I see the waste of human life. It represents to me that we've got to be on the assembly line of industrialization, making crap. For every single thing that we own, there's somebody out there who's got to spend a precious part of their life doing a job they hate. And if that isn't the definition of waste, I don't know what is. And so conventional economic theory will just see the use of resources into what they call productive stuff, but we've actually got to question what is that, even if it's turned into something that's we find some use for, it's still not waste. It really is waste. It's waste of life. We haven't come here as we've been given this amazing gift from the moment we're conceived, and we spend it doing stuff that we don't want to do. Instead of creating a new cultural story where we create a way of living where we can be creative, we can be free, we can live in connection and with harmony with nature. You know, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy from this point where we are right now, but it's just a matter of creating a new story. It really is that simple. Because what we have right now, capitalism, money, Santa Claus, all these forms of conditionality, they're all just stories. And I think the one thing I would like to, because I'm personally trying to get away from that, because people come to me asking me about money the whole time these days, and it seems ironic sometimes that you give up money and then everybody's just talking to you about money. And I'm really trying to get the conversation around cultural stories, around the sense of self, because I really, really feel that sense of self is just crucial to our moving forward. Like, just to really see yourself as the whole, see yourself as being the people in Iraq, the forests, the oceans, the rivers, the salmon. See yourself in everything, and it will completely alter your relationship with them. And so yeah, so don't focus. Please don't focus in this talk on money at all. Money isn't the problem; it's just the perpetuator of the problem, and its role in disconnecting us from nature just kind of reinforces that illusion of self, because we never get to connect with the earth anymore. We never get to connect with the forest. Like, how often do we get to, everything's nature in some ways. So even this building in some ways is nature. It's not like anything is outside of nature. But I mean, to have a connection with that which nourishes us, to have a connection with the wilds and all the lessons that come with being in the wild. Like, how much time do we get with that? And there's so much wisdom lost when we don't connect with those things. And so it just keeps perpetuating. So as long as we've got this tool that we call money, that disconnects us from what we consume, and disconnects us from each other, then very, very few of the symptoms like sweatshops and factory farms and deforestation, very few that's going to change. Because why would it change? Why would we change our behaviour if we don't connect with the whole? And so that's the main thing I've come here really today to say, is just get a new sense of self. Don't see yourself as John or Mary or Peter or Charlie with a camera or whatever. See yourself as Gaia, in a way. See yourself as the forests. See what the component parts are of you, and just kind of let this boundary here, the separate, that you think we've drawn the line right here between you and other, and that boundary doesn't really exist. And we're killing the other because we think that we get benefit of that. We think that it's a war, and that if I get enough stuff, then I'm kind of winning that war in some way. And actually, we kill nature. It's the one war that even the victor loses in. With this war on nature, and even if we win it, we lose. Because at the end of the day, this is our host. We're here. We've been given this gift of life, and the way we're living, this cultural story that we're enacting out every day, and the rituals of this story are, the credit card transactions and the writing of the check and the handing over money. These are the little rituals that create the bigger story, create the story of money. And I think I could go into. It's interesting for me because when I first started doing these talks years ago, I'd kind of rant on about economic theories and stuff, and how I went living moneyless originally for similar reasons, but not. It has evolved over the last few years, and I find myself now just really actually trying to get down to deeper down into the root causes of where we're at. And I've just come to the point, and as I said at the start of the talk, I may be very, very wrong in everything I say. Really don't all I'm going to encourage is that kind of question this stuff for yourself. Read stuff like Charles Eisenstein. There's a book called The Ascent of Humanity. A really crucial book in understanding sense of self. Just go and think. But from my perspective at this point, where I've got, I'm only 32. I'm not professing in any way to have the answers to life or anything like this. I'm just kind of exploring all this myself, and this is the point I've come to. But it is that unless we change the cultural stories that make up our society, nothing is going to change of any significance. And I think the point I'd probably finish it on is that kind of from when we're born, we've been given this lens through which we see the world, and the lens we have on right now is one called "How much can I get?" It's the lens of the illusory self. It's how much can I get, and on the table right in front of you is a whole bunch of other lenses, and there's the lens of how many people can I make smile today. There's the lens of how much can I give. There's all these other lenses, you know, how can I be the most creative person I can be? And all I'm asking you really to do is just to take off this lens for, you know, tomorrow, even just try it tomorrow, wake up tomorrow morning, take off that lens and stick on the lens called how much can I give? Or the lens called how many people can I make smile? And just imagine if every single person in this room went about their lives every day thinking, how many people can I make happy today? You know, not how much can I get, how many people can I make happy? And the irony of this is that if we could learn to do this, we'd be so much happier ourselves. You know, we're deluded into thinking that actually fighting for our little share of the whole pie is going to make us happy. We're happiest when we're actually giving. We're happiest when we're sharing. You know, the capitalist systems